This is the New Albany National Cemetery. This national cemetery is one of the original 7 established in 1862 by Congress. 5.46 acres were purchased from Dr. Charles Bowman, December 1862. For burial of Union and Confederate casualties, there are over 5,000 internments from 7 conflicts: Civil War, Indian Wars, Spanish-American War, World War I and II, Korean and Vietnam, placed by Floyd County Historical Society. I will add that since this plaque has been erected, that there have been those heroes interred in this national cemetery from both Iraq and Afghanistan. Hey there, YouTube's Chris Holman here. This is my Memorial Day tribute. I am standing here today at the New Albany National Cemetery in New Albany, Indiana. I have before me here the address of President Lincoln at the dedication of the Gettysburg National Cemetery, November 19th, 1863. Let me just read this for you here real quick, and we'll get to the rest of my presentation here. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a national resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of the devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. This national cemetery here holds the final resting place of veterans from the Civil War all the way up to present, and in the Civil War both Union and Confederate soldiers. It's not a large cemetery, but it is the National Cemetery here in New Albany. Not far from here, just the next county over during the Civil War, was a military hospital, and also coming through here was a supply line during the Civil War. Where I am standing here is in the center of this cemetery. Behind me, or behind the camera, is the flagpole. I will do a 360 view in just a second, but before I do, I would like to ask each and every one of you watching this, if you would just take a moment to reflect on the sacrifices of so many for our freedom we have here today in these United States. So I'm here today with a young lady here that I met here at the cemetery, National Cemetery, and I thought I would just take an opportunity to share, give her an opportunity to share with you what Memorial Day means to you. So,
well, it used to be that it was for anyone passed away. Nowadays it's for the military more, you know, it's more of a military thing, but my day it was called Decoration Day.
Yeah.
And you decorated all the graves of people, you know, that you remember. Now it's more of a military thing, but it's a day people don't appreciate. It's not a day off from work. It's, you know,
right.
That's not the whole point. It's a day to honor your military. And if you're going to have a cookout, at least take time to go do the graveside thing. That's just my opinion.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you have a great weekend,
Thank
time
you.
with your family. God bless.
Thank you.
So hey there, YouTubes. This next little segment, I'm gonna walk through the cemetery here. I'm gonna pay our respects. Take you along with me. Unknown soldiers, Civil War, June 9th, 1864. We see that there's, and to understand these stones here, they're numbered, but there's nothing else on it. They likely did not know who those individuals are. World War II, Vietnam. Row after row of our honored dead who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. These are the real heroes right here. As I walk through here, I can't help but feel humble to be in the presence of such greatness. Great men, endowed with a sense of loyalty to their country, wore their uniform, went overseas, or in the case of the Civil War here at home, fought for the ideals they believed in, for their families, for their country, for their God, and paid the ultimate sacrifice. The ultimate sacrifice for my freedom, for your freedom, and even the freedoms of people around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, viewers and subscribers, where I stand today is indeed hallowed ground. This marker here is the marker of a Vietnam veteran and the father of someone who was very close to me. I knew that he had passed away. I guess it was about 10 years ago now. And I first found his marker here last year. So I wanted to include this in here. U.S. Air Force veteran, Vietnam. This was a man who struggled with what he had experienced, and it profoundly affected his life. He was a man who lived life large. All right, there, YouTubes. In this next segment, I'm doing an interview with, if you give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is James Powers, and this is my son Jack.
All right. So I want to give you an opportunity. Again, thank you so much for doing this interview. If you could just explain to me and my viewers what Memorial Day means to you, and anything else you'd like to share with us.
Sure. Well, Memorial Day is a chance to remember and appreciate those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for us, those who didn't get to go home to their families.
Right.
And you know, of course, we remember all the veterans today, but you know, especially the ones who gave it all.
Right.
You know, and so you know, my grandfather's here, and so every year we like to come here and just pay tribute, you know,
Right.
just to remember.
Right.
We want the boys to understand that this is what it costs. You know,
Right.
that this is the cost of freedom, and it's real.
It sure is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it, man.
All right.
Yeah, you have a good one. Thank you.
You too. God bless.
All right.
From the poem "The Bivouac of the Dead" by Theodore Ohhara. The muffled drum's sad roll has beat the soldier's last tattoo. No more on life's parade shall meet that brave and fallen few. On fame's eternal camping ground, their silent tents are spread, and glory's guard with solemn round, the bivouac of the dead. Thank you for watching this presentation for Memorial Day. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking the time to watch to this point. Let us continue to remember, not just on this weekend, not just on this day, but every day, to remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and the freedom of those around the world. Everybody have a great Memorial Day. God is love. God bless.